not silent, but alive in a softer way. Water still clung to the leaves, releasing itself slowly, one drop at a time, falling into the dark soil below. The air was heavy with a scent of pine, wet bark, and moss. Inside the small wooden dome cabin, the warmth remained from the fire that had burned earlier, held gently by the curved walls shaped from living trees long ago. The man sat near the center of the cabin, breathing evenly. He had learned that here, breath mattered. Too fast, and the forest noticed. Too shallow, and the body stayed restless. He let his breathing slow until it matched the rhythm outside, the quiet dripping, the distant movement of branches adjusting to the weight of water. When he first came to the forest, he believed he was leaving something behind. Noise, pressure, the constant sense of being watched by clocks and screens. But the forest never asked him what he had escaped from. It only seemed interested in how he behaved now that he had arrived. The dome cabin had no corners, no sharp edges. Sound moved differently inside it. Words softened before they reached the walls. Even thoughts felt rounder, less aggressive. He built it slowly, using fallen wood, never cutting what was still growing. Each piece had been chosen carefully, not for perfection, but for cooperation. In the early days, the animals kept their distance. Birds stayed high above the clearing, their calls short and cautious. A fox appeared only once at dusk, slipping between shadows like a question that didn't expect an answer. The man understood immediately that presence alone meant nothing. Trust was something earned by consistency, not intention. He did not leave food. He did not attempt contact. He stayed visible, predictable, calm. Every morning he stepped outside at the same time. Every evening he returned to the cabin before dark. He moved slowly. He listened more than he looked. One evening, as the fire dimmed and the cabin filled with a gentle amber glow, a squirrel sat near the doorway. It didn't freeze. It didn't flee. It simply existed there, tail curled loosely around its body, eyes alert but unafraid. The man remained still. He felt something shift inside him. Not excitement, not pride, but understanding. He was not invisible here, and he was not dominant. As weeks passed, the forest adjusted its rhythm around him. Deer crossed the clearing without panic. Birds landed closer to the cabin roof. The fox returned, lingering longer each time. The man never followed them. He allowed every encounter to end naturally. Closeness, he learned, grows best when nothing is demanded from it. After the rain ended early one afternoon, the forest felt open, exposed, as if it were waiting. The man opened the cabin door and left it open, not as an invitation, but as a gesture of availability. He sat down just inside, letting the boundary remain undefined. A raven landed near the entrance. Its feathers absorbed the light, dark and calm. It tilted its head, observing. The man kept his gaze soft, unfocused, aware without staring. He whispered one word, not as instruction, but as alignment. Easy. step forward. The next morning, a deer rested near the cabin. When the man stepped outside, it lifted its head, but did not run. Their eyes met briefly. There was no hierarchy in that moment, no fear, only recognition, as if both understood something without needing language. Days became simpler. The man realized how little he needed: fire for warmth, water for tea, wood for shelter. Everything else was already present, moving, breathing, living without his involvement. The forest was not providing for him. It was allowing him to participate. One night, he sensed a tension outside the cabin. Not danger, awareness. He opened the door and saw them gathered at the edge of the clearing. Deer, a fox, birds perched above. They were not surrounding him. They were sharing space. He sat down on the ground, placing his hand on the soil. It was cool, familiar, steady. Time stretched, or perhaps time simply stopped being relevant. No one approached. No one left. The moment did not ask for action, and then understanding arrived quietly. The animals had not adapted to him. He had adapted to them. The cabin was not a shelter. It was a filter, a way to see whether an individual could exist in the forest without trying to claim it, without needing to be central. "I'm staying," the man said softly. It was not a promise. It was a fact. The animals departed without ceremony. No signal, no confirmation. The forest resumed its rhythm. That night, the man slept deeply. Not heavily, not unconsciously, but without separation. In the morning, the forest felt closer. Not louder, not brighter, simply nearer. The sounds flowed around him instead of toward him. He realized the boundary he once believed existed had thinned. He was no longer watching the forest. He was within it. The realization brought calm. Not because the animals had accepted him, but because he no longer needed to be the center of the experience. He had not come to understand animals. He had come to remember something older, that he was never a guest here, never separate, just one living being among many. And the forest had known it